All right. Hey, we're back. And the colors on the screen are what they ought to be, mostly. I had to switch cameras from my computer. Hey, Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with Astrology Mojo. Transformational astrology, and it's more than just astrology, right? It's about conscious awareness. It's about being present. It's about you doing what you came here to do on this earth. Okay, I can help. I can help. Hey, Elizabeth is here. Hi, Elizabeth. Well, we're just feeling the effects now, some of us, are of the solar eclipse in Cancer at 10 degrees. And Aaliyah, our daughter, texted me this morning and said, Mom, can you help me interpret a dream? It was very disturbing. And I said, yes, but not in a text. Oh, these Gen Xers. All right. Oh, in case you're new to me and you don't know, when I talk about the planets don't do anything to you. No. It is about me. It is. Elizabeth says it's about me. And the planets don't do anything to you. So when the planets are making their moves through all the constellations, you feel that. And when you make a move, no matter what you're doing, it's reflected in the aspects and angles in astrology. So the planets do not make you do things, okay? This is a very new concept. A lot of astrologers don't talk about it because maybe they don't believe it. We are not puppets, and I want you to realize that you have power and that you are being empowered with that realization. Now, let's move along and talk about some of the planets and what they're doing. Well, solar eclipse, 10 degrees Cancer. Yeah, it's a lot. And I'm going to pull up a chart that I'll show you. Now we're already in the guise and the energy of have been for a month or so of the Capricorn Lunar Eclipse. Now, if you have Capricorn in your chart in a major placement, any Capricorn, but in a major placement, Sun, rising, or Moon, Saturn, or Jupiter, or even Neptune, any of the planets, but making angles and aspects to particular other planets in your chart, in your personal natal chart, what's going to happen is that part of your world is going to get triggered. And so it helps you to open up even more to understanding where are the limitations in your life. Where do you forego something that is necessary? Where have you taken on extra vows, contracts, or burdens that, you don't need to do that anymore? In Harry Potter world, it's the when you make the unbreakable vow, what happens if you break it? Well, you die. Not in astrology. There are always loopholes you can get out of. So if you've made a contract on any level in this lifetime or a previous lifetime to change something, take on someone's burden so that they can end their negative karma, or you've made a vow to minimize yourself for whatever reason, any limiting pattern that you enact, it's now time to end the contract and begin something new. And so when I talk about that, it's more about the nodes in the north and south nodes, which are those are the intersecting points that we can calculate when the moon orbits the earth. The north and south node are always opposite one another, and they represent, in astrology, where you have come from spiritually, emotionally, and karmically, and where you need to be heading. And so right now, we are heading toward self-care and fostering growth and having more compassion because and I'll show it to you, the North Node is in the sign of Cancer. And Cancer, and the North Node, if you're not familiar with it, it looks like a set of headphones, okay? The North Node at the top looks like headphones. The South Node looks like a horseshoe underneath. It's always directly opposite. And the North Node is a big player in this particular solar eclipse in Cancer. And the South Node is doubling up with Saturn in Capricorn, saying, yeah, these old systems, whether they be authority systems in your life, whether they be political, educational, business, whether they deal with your ultimate structure as an individual, your body, your mind, your whole spiritual self, and the alignment of these things. How it's going to play out for you depends on where these North and South nodes are transiting in your natal chart, in Cancer and in Capricorn, and what they say about where you come from and where you're headed. And so I'm going into depth in that. I've added 3 more spots. I've loosened up my schedule so that I could work with people more this month. And these eclipses, it's not just the day or the week of the eclipse. They begin way before you start to feel it, and then they last for months, and then they overlap. And the next set of eclipses comes in December and January, December 2019, January 2020. So when I talk about the Mercury in retrograde, as you can see in the chart that I just showed, and come tell me who's here today. Come talk to me. Say hello. The Mercury in retrograde is in the sign of Leo. And then on July, I wrote it in my notes, 18th, it moves, retrogrades back into the sign of Cancer. And what does that mean? And then retrograde is over on the 31st of July, 2019, but then add at least a week to 10 days for things to regroup. Well, what happens is people sometimes they're upset about Mercury in retrograde. Technology will go a little haywire at times. Why? Because it's made by people. And sometimes it's made in a retrograde. So when technology is on overloaded information, trippy audio feedback going on. Oh, really? Okay. Well, how about I lower my volume? Does that help? When Mercury in retrograde shows up, it's important that you understand that going inward to understand your perceptions, to understand your motivation, and what really fuels your fire, your passion. This is in Leo, folks. So is it an educational issue? Is it an entertainment issue? Do you need to express yourself more? Do you need to have more creative avenues in your world that you're not allowing? Oh, I have an echo? I don't know why. I tested my audio. Does everyone have an echo? Dean, do you have an echo? Elizabeth, do you have an echo? Anyone else have an echo? So what's important also to realize in this particular Mercury in retrograde is that when we shift from, all right, how about now? Let's try that. When we shift from when we shift our focus from, oh my gosh, there's so much crazy stuff happening. Do I have an echo?
Sounds fine.
Oh, well, okay, it might be on your computer, Sherry, or perhaps Mercury in retrograde is just being a little mischief maker for you. I don't know. Okay, so when we shift our focus from, hey, the phone's not working, or I called so-and-so and the line went dead, or I flipped this switch and I fixed it 2 weeks ago. How come it's breaking now? And why doesn't this remote work? When we get out of I got to fix it, and we narrow focus on something. And when we move out of that phase, what we can then focus on is, where would I like to put my passion? So I want you to think about the opposite of passion for you. What's the opposite of passion? And some people might say, oh, frustration, because they can't do what they want, or the doldrums, a rut, anxiety, overwhelm. So think about what the opposite is of passion for you, and then add your compassion to it and start nurturing yourself more. Again, all these energies coincide. It's never just one thing, ever, ever, ever. And with self-care being a must now, we're moving toward that with the North Node in Cancer. Oh, by the way, cycles are the whole thing in astrology, right? So cycles. Now, Saturn takes about 27 to 29 years to, do its thing and go in a circle and come back around in your life. And so then you would look back, 27 to 29 years ago, what was I doing? What was coming up for me? And also, Jupiter is approximately a 12-year cycle. So, and that's within 12 months. So it could be 11 and a half months to 12 and a half months, 11 and a half years ago to 12 and a half years ago, something was happening. So within 12 months. And now the nodes have a cycle as well. It takes them 18 and a half years to go through all the constellations. So I want you to look back approximately 18 to 19 years ago. Who were you? What were you doing? And what were you, ready? Drum roll. Brrr. Wait, Harry Potter wand. What were you disallowing? Big one, huh? 18 to 20 years ago. Were you just learning a new job? Was there, where I actually was a new mom, and, I was hormonal, crazy, sleep deprived. Our daughter is 20 now. And so 18 and a half years ago, I was constantly nurturing and caring for and giving and giving and giving at the sake of myself, more so than ever before. So now, 18 and a half years later, it's a big deal. When my daughter texts me and says, oh my gosh, I'm having a lot of anxiety today and I'm just overwhelmed. I need to take a me break. And I said, yes, absolutely. Self-care is a must. And then she said, can you help me interpret a dream? I can call right now. And I said, honey, I have a Facebook Live to do. And share with me, what you wrote down in your journal. And then we can talk in about an hour or so. And so that took 18 years for me to develop, to be able to say that. Because typically I would have dropped everything in a heartbeat. Yes, what do you need? I'm right here for you. But interpreting a dream is not as important as, I need to go to the hospital, right? So I learned how to set boundaries as the years have progressed in order to turn it around and now self-nurture, foster growth within myself. What are you able to do? Now we want to couple that with, where are the boundaries in your life? Are you still allowing yourself to give to others? Absolutely. But then draw that line and say, yeah, no, not a good time for me. I can call you in an hour or tomorrow, or, I'm sorry you're going through this, and I can help you without the negative self-sacrifice, where you give at the sake of yourself. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, I'm so glad that the echo went away. Away, away, away. All right. So, what is it that you really have passion for? I love researching health every morning. Emotional well-being, physical well-being. What are the herbs, the amino acids, the nutrients, the types of foods? What are the things that we need to help us feel better and live longer and have no pain. This is what I love to research, as well as spiritual development and numerology, astrology, all the ologies, all the study ofs. And when I delve into these things, it's like I'm lit from the inside. That's my passion. I love that. And I love writing. I love cooking and baking. How can I take that old recipe that had a ton of wheat and a ton of sugar and a ton of stuff and translate it now into different ingredients where I don't feel sick, bloated, gassy, tired, So these are the things that I spend my time on. What is it that you would like to spend your time on? And remember that when I do readings with people, especially now, I'm now pulling in more universal support. So I will ask angels, the celestial beings that are always here to help. When asked, especially, I will invite starseed family and call on passed on loved ones, and really to help integrate your process so that you have what you need, the tools and a direction. Sometimes if we don't know where we're going, I think that was a Yogi Berra statement, a quote. If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? And just living day to day doesn't work anymore for a lot of people. There's a lot of dissension in the groups and the communities, and people are just restless. They're more restless because they're looking for that thing. What is that thing that is going to help me feel fulfilled? And so let me pull a card up top before we talk more about the Mercury in retrograde, and I'll ask that the universe intervene, and my guides, angels, and starseed, my light beings, call them in. Say, how can we help you? What is the thing that you're not allowing yourself to have? And some people might say, oh, I really wish I had a great job, or I wish I had a better, a deeper relationship with my family or a lover or with my friends, or I wish I had friends, or I wish I felt passionate about something. Some people, they just go through like, okay, well, it's something to fill the time, and there's no real passion. So what is it for you? Oh, this is an interesting pull today. We have the, ta-da, manifestation card. What is it that you would like to manifest? If you could snap your finger and have it be done, or wave your wand, what is it that you would want? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know that you're here if you're just joining us. Elaine, Marolakos, Edelson here, talking about the eclipses in Capricorn and Cancer and the Mercury in retrograde in Leo. I am offering 3 more sessions. I made up some space in my schedule so that I can help people. 3 more sessions. It's a power eclipse session, and we're going to be looking at your trajectory, where you've come from. Not just this life, but in other lifetimes as well, if that's appropriate for you, and what you're doing with your energy and where you really need to be redirected in order to open up those fields of light. Because everything you are, talk about manifestation, everything you are is a manifestation of your world. And so you are at the center. You're the magnet for everything in your life. And sometimes we cross paths with others and energies, and we bump into each other, and it's not always a happy experience. So we have a choice. And what is that choice? What are those choices that we can make? Well, we can engage, or we can step to the right and assess a little bit and see, why am I attracting this? And maybe you're just walking through somebody's energy field and you just got literally caught in the crossfire between them and something else. Remember, we're in a time of extremes right now. So if you have, why can some people, okay, so when my mom was still alive 2 years ago, I drove her to the store, and we were at a major intersection, and the light turned red, and there was about 3 cars in front of us, and we stopped, And then there was a car turning, and then the car across the street coming this way was a truck, and he didn't stop. And he kept going. It was a yellow light on his end where we were stopping on our end. He kept going, and he hit the car that was turning. And that car spun. And I inhaled because it was coming in our direction, and I inhaled deeply, and I just thought white light protection. And I grabbed, my mom's shoulder just to brace for impact, just in case. And the car skidded. I mean, the guy lost his side view mirror. The glass broke on his windshield, and the car skidded and spun to about this close to us. And my mother was just, and I thought, oh, this poor guy, rolled down my window, and he was stunned. Then the light is green and people are driving. And somebody else got out, and my mom was old, and I had just been to the hospital with her, and I thought, I can't stay with her. But I sent the guy light, and then 2 other people came to help the guy, and then another guy drove after the truck who hit him and ran away and drove away. So needs met, right? But what is it about some people where they get caught in the crossfire, even if they're, innocent and not doing anything? Fortunately, we were okay. And I like to think also that the energy that I resonate, the frequency that I output, is helping me to create a boundary between me and the rest of the world. Now, had I been, furious and enraged and having a big old hissy fit in that car, and if maybe that car would have kept going and hit us too. Because energy, it's all about energy, folks. You look at the news, turn it off. It hasn't changed in 2,000 years. I'm not saying don't get involved. I'm just saying you don't need to see the same thing every day, because then you put up a defense and then you become cynical. And then that energy is what becomes more extremes in the world. Think about that. So when we talk about manifestation, what I'd like to see you do is first become aware of how you're feeling. What's your output? What's your frequency? Let me see. I've shown this before, and we're redoing our daughter's room who's away at college, and it'll be now the guest room / bedroom. But I found one of my daughter's aura photos of when she was 5. In fact, hey, Dean, can you go into Aaliyah's bedroom and look up on the wall and grab that aura photo? I think I'll show it. When we output an energy and a frequency, we're able to affect and effect a great number of people, a great number of issues, situations, and it's all about being present. Right? It's all about being present. Okay, so this is the aura that I have when I work with people. And the you may not be able to see it, but in the white spheres, which is absolute balance, celestial balance of white light, there's ultra blue, and that is also very healing. And what, the words that I use or the energy that comes out of me. And then magenta and orange. And I've also got ET. You see the stripes coming down. Those are starseed information connecting with. And heart-centered, a lot of magenta and pink. And when our daughter was 5, I took her to, thank you, sweetie. I took her to a local place that was doing aura photography. And I said to Aaliyah, would you like to get your aura done? You want to see what your energy looks like? And she's like, sure, Mom. She's such an Aquarius rising. I love her. I hope this isn't too much glare. But anyway, this was Aaliyah. Let me get rid of mine. This was Aaliyah at the age of 5. Whoopsie. Let's see if I can angle this where it's not too crazy. All right, she looks like an alien, right? Because she is, basically. And, all right, maybe I could... we're going to see all this reflection. It's not good. It didn't work. Well, maybe in the corner. But you can see all the yellow and the orange. I mean, literally, it's like a starburst of yellow, orange, and bright green. And right in her heart area, there's this big burst of pinkish orange. So when you are feeling something, you are resonating that feeling. and you put it out into the world. So what is it that you'd really like to be? Does that work? Oh, that's better. Oh, okay. There we go. And by the way, Aaliyah did a digital art of Buddha for me while I was writing my second book based in Korea and Japan. So that was Aaliyah when she was 5. Green, pink, orange, and yellow. So a lot of, and this starburst, right? It's amazing what we look like. Now, on a crappy day, your aura will not look the same. And when you're developing an illness because of too much stress, too much narrow focus on worry or fear, again, your aura will change. So what's in your frequency is what you share with the world. Thank you very much. Smile a little bit more. Manifest the idea of possibility, number 1. Because a lot of times we get stuck in that, it's never going to change, never going to happen. This is my day. This is what happened. I got to go to a picnic. These are my family. Okay. Change it up. Do something a little different, because if you don't change anything, nothing changes. And so the Mercury in retrograde in Leo, what it shows you is that, especially if you have Leo or Aquarius in your chart, because they are opposites, and we're working with the world of opposites this month, and then we're going to talk about Capricorn lunar eclipse in the next few minutes. But with this Leo lunar eclipse, before it moves into Cancer, it's got this more optimistic outlook. Now, it can be melodramatic if you are naturally a closed person or fearful person, and or a skeptical person. With a Mercury in retrograde in Leo, it is conjuncting Mars. So it can be, it fuels the judgment in you, and it fuels your fear. So if you start to experience a lot of anxiety, worry, or doubt, or just this unexplainable sense of disempowerment, and you're enraged about it, or you feel like, you're on the road and you just blurt, somebody cuts you off, or they're going a little too fast, and you just have this horrible judgment, about the way they drive, or what's going on in town, or who are these people. And sometimes we get stuck in traffic here because there's only one way up to the west side of Sedona and one way down. And it can get kind of crazy. There's tourists, stopping to take pictures. It's like, I got to get to the doctor. I got to get my kid to school. Pull over. It's things like that can just get out of control over trivial things, over non-essentials. And then the flare that comes out of you moves through everyone and everything. So let's be a little bit more responsible with what we're experiencing. I'm not saying don't feel your feelings. Au contraire. I am saying feel your feelings, but then become aware of how long you want to feel those feelings. Because, Now, when we have one of those experiences where we just, you just want to fight somebody, I want you to take a deep breath. And then check yourself. Just give yourself a small amount of time to let it go, blurt it out, write it down. And then you must engage all of your senses, your chakras, your mind, your body, your spirit, and say, I need to pull this together now. What is the one thing that I feel passionate about? What is the one thing that opens my heart? Whatever it is, it can be simple. It can be, I just need to do a crossword puzzle right now. I just need to listen to some music right now. I just need to lie down for 5 minutes. I just need to go into the bathroom and have a good cry. So whatever these things are, it's going to help you move your energy. Does this make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know who's here. If this doesn't make sense, then I need to say it in a different way. Now I'm going to talk about the Capricorn lunar eclipse coming up on the 16th. and it's at 24 degrees Capricorn. So if you have Capricorn in your chart, you will feel this more than most people, but everyone will still feel this. And the earth feels it. Anytime there is, what I've noticed is that when there is an eclipse, whether it be solar or lunar, in an earth sign or a water sign, we have more floods, more droughts, more earthquakes. And when there are more eclipses in air and fire signs, there are more fires, more, I don't want to call them disasters, but more issues that happen with, your air conditioner, anything that deals with air and wind, or using that as a resource. Maybe windstorms come in and, kick things up, and you've just planted a garden. Oh, well. There's a place, is it Navarro? No, I don't remember the name, but somewhere in Spain right now, there's flooding, major flooding going on. Earthquake, 2 earthquakes in a row in California. So these kinds of things shake it up. The earth is an energy, isn't it? And it's the original energy. Without it, we're not here. And so every day, what I do is I put out an energy when I walk the dog, and I look up at the sky, and I am so grateful and say, thank you, sun. Thank you, sun, for illuminating the path, for helping things grow, for keeping us warm, for giving us energy. Thank you, earth, for the path on which I walk, for helping things to grow with the sun. Thank you, sky, air, water, for all these basic elements, so that, and I put out a gratitude energy. It really does help that you have an effect on this world and on this planet. So don't think you don't. You're very powerful. And when this particular lunar eclipse in Capricorn, it's already, we're just a week away, but we're already feeling it. And in fact, we've been feeling it for over a month. And it will continue for the next up to 6 months. This is a pretty strong one because of the nodes, the north and south nodes, conjuncting in energy. Let me just show you what that looks like again. And that is when you see the sun, the circle with the dot in it, and there's Mercury. It looks like it's a circle with the little horns on top of its head, or hair sticking up, and then, or the crown. And then there's the north node. It looks like headphones in the sign of Cancer. And directly opposite, look at all those purple lines. Those are opposite energies to the moon. This is for July 15th, this chart. This is for the lunar eclipse. And the moon, Saturn, South Node, and Pluto. These are some heavy hitters in astrology. And this particular lunar eclipse in Capricorn at 24 degrees is going to help shake up a lot of physical structures, not just earthquakes, but buildings and reconstruction, and in your systems in business. If something's not working, this is when it all falls down. And you may have a particular set of strategies for business, and as you move along, you go, oh my gosh, and things start to topple on top of each other. And you say, wait, we were FDA compliant and now we're not, or we were FCC compliant and now they have new regulations and new rules. So, I paid my electric bill and now I got a different bill. What's that about? And so there's going to be a lot of changes to the structures that we are used to. And this is going to go on for the next 6 months or so, but this is the initial phase. The end of June through July, half of August is the initial phase of, wait a minute, what just happened? What just got shaken up? And in your personal life too, wherever these eclipses and the north and south node fall, it's going to show us where you have the ability to transform something powerful. I mean powerful. And it's going to take a little focus for you to do that. I'm not saying it's going to be hard. I'm just going to say that it's going to take, a little bit more focus when I pull the manifestation card. What it's asking you to do, what the universe is asking you to do is think about, what have you already created? Look at your world. Look at your life. Look at your relationships. Look at your perspective. Remember, Mercury in retrograde is always about stepping back and seeing your perception. What do you believe? What are you judging? A self, others, and you may not be aware of these things. A friend asked me the other day, what does it mean? Because you said what you don't know that you don't know might be coming. And I said, oh, well, let's just say you're not feeling well. You know that you're not feeling well, but you don't know why or what it is. That's different than what you don't know that you don't know is going to appear. And this is going to be true for a lot of people now, where suddenly they thought, oh, everything was great. We were ready to do a launch on the business, or we're ready to build that house. And then the architect comes by and says, yeah, I gotta quit, or we're not compliant with, certain permits. And it's like, wait, right? So do your best not to feel like you're thrown off axis. Now, let me know that you're listening. Because sometimes I will just talk and talk and talk. Does this make sense? Let me know. Laura Lee says she's just getting on the webinar. Great. Welcome. What's your sign? What's your birthday? Sherry, what's your birthday? Who else is here? Let me know. Elizabeth is a Pisces. Dean is a Cancer. I'm a Taurus. Just a tourist. Rhonda's here. Yes, it makes sense. Thank you. And, but the fun things, all right, it's not just going to be all doom and gloom and the buildings are collapsing in your head. But what the fun thing is when I'm coming back to what I originally started talking about, if you're just tuning in, when you find your passion, and it can be anything. I got so excited about our kids' room. Aaliyah is off at college for 2 years now, and it's like, yeah, we had to get rid of some stuff. So Aaliyah came home for a few weeks at the end of May through June for a little bit of summer break before going back to Portland to start a new job and for the summer, and cleaned out, I'd say, half the room. And I said, all right, we're going to be selling the furniture, the twin bed, the teen dresser, we're going to upgrade. So it's been so fun painting the walls with Dean and, finding the right little lingerie dresser. And Aaliyah's working on a whole experience with Aaliyah's in art school, PNCA, and digital art, illustration, and visual development for film and web comics, etc. And so Aaliyah and her roommates are working on a whole sim game, a sim dating game that is all about fairies and different creatures, centaurs and fairies and all these. It's so cool. So we decided to rename Aaliyah's room Feywood. That is the name of the game that they are creating. And it's awesome. So I found a little door. It's this big, 7 inches, and it's got a little frame around it, and it opens, and I'm going to glue it to the bottom of the floor on the wall, and there's a welcome mat, and that's going to be the fairy door. I mean, come on. How can we not have that? It's going to be so fun. I'm so excited. So, Laura Lee is an Aries, and Rhonda loves fairies. And I did not mean for that to rhyme, but it does. And so, when I was a kid, I used to ride my bike up and down the street all the time. And I was the last one to learn how to ride a two-wheeler. Oh my gosh. All my friends were trying. And then I had an older friend. I was 7 and she was 16. And she said, I want you to get on my bike, sit on my bike. And she got in front. She said, I'm just going to pedal while you sit on the seat and hold my waist. And I did. And I got the rhythm. And then my father said, all right, now I'll put you on a smaller bike and wheel you down the street. And it took a while, but finally I got the rhythm. because I was so afraid of falling. Always afraid of falling. I used to have horrible vertigo when I was a kid. I could not get grounded on the earth. I was always spinning sideways, tumbling in a car, or, I finally got grounded and I could ride my bike. It was such freedom. Oh, freedom. And all I saw fairies flying with me up and down the street. I saw them all the time. I thought everybody did. They were my friends. And they still are. Anyway, a tribute to fairies, and they're magical. So I will eventually get some of Aaliyah's drawings that she is creating for this particular sim game. And I will frame them in different stages of development. So we'll put those on the wall as well, and got really pretty curtains. I'm so excited. Yay. So what's your passion? What is your passion? Because once you get through I feel terrible, I want to judge something, the contraction. Once we get past the contraction, we have expansion. Let's expand. What do you want to expand on? What's your passion? So Trista, what a pretty name, says May 14th, another Taurus. Hello, fellow Taurian. Yay, fairies and crystal balls. Hooray. So I'm going to come. Oh, by the way, I will be back on Friday, July 12th. And if you join me then at 10 a.m. and you tell me your birth month and day, like May 14th or April 16th, come back and I will tell you what your year is going to look like. And so that's my gift to you. And then your aura will definitely change. So I'm going to pull another card before I close today. And remember, the planets don't do anything to you. This is a cooperation of energy. So when you change something about your thought process, when you open your heart and you judge less, what you put out into the world is beauty, love, compassion, happiness. And I've only got 3 more spaces left for a power eclipse session. And it includes the north nodes and the past 18 years and where you're going, the trajectory and where you could end up based on what your joys are and what we can move out of the way for you. With the contracts that are ending right now are amazing. And I don't just mean legal contracts, although that's part of it, but the part of you that said long ago, 18 and a half years ago to 19 years ago, that said, yeah, I just got to keep pushing. I got to push harder. I got to work harder. I got to make it work. And then we find we're in debt, emotional debt, physical debt, spiritual debt, romantic debt. No more debt, right? No more debt. Horses are my passion. I train them and we rescue animals. I love that. I love that. Now, Neptune must be very prominent in your chart because horses are a Neptune energy. And so I actually was in Montana in May, and I got to work with an original horse whisperer. This woman is 80 years old, had a life that I can't even imagine. Worked on a farm, worked on a horse ranch all her life, had to raise brothers and sisters, divorce, disease. It went on and on and on. And the horses are what saved her life. And now she puts that, her name is Bobby, and she puts that back into the world. And I went and met her horses, and they're free range, like chickens. They're not put in barns, although there is a barn if the horses want to mosey into the barn. And I was taught how to engage the horse, how to push back if they pushed me, how to set back. I cried. I learned boundaries. I learned boundaries working with a group of horses that would just come by and say hello to me, and then we'd have an interaction. It was amazing. It was terrifying in one moment, and Bobby just held my hand and she said, I want you to breathe. It's just a little thing, little person. She can haul a bale of hay that is 3 times my size, little thing. And she just grabbed my hand and she said, I want you to breathe right now. And I want you to realize that this horse is trying to teach you something. And instead of the fear, let's look at the lesson and let's look at the outcome. I was like, I love you. I love you. So Trista, I love what you're doing. Do more. Okay, folks. You can click on the blue Book Now button to get that Power Hour eclipse session. That includes the North and South nodes, the Mercury in retrograde. I will be inviting my angels, my starseed, my light beings to also help you to heal, and we will move energy so that you get past that boundary. You get past that vow, that old contract that you're ready to break and move on. All right. So be sparkly, be well. I'll be back on Friday. Come join me, 10 a.m. Pacific, Arizona time, and you can figure out the rest. And remember, go slow in these eclipses. Weather is crazy. Emotional weather can get crazy. No judging. Evaluate, assess, have more alone time, be present, self-care, foster growth, set that boundary. And I will see you on Friday. Thank you.